Hey, welcome back. So we're continuing on with HTTP requests, and in this video, we're going to talk about something called a query string. So what is a query string? Let's start there. It's a way to pass data to a server as part of a GET request. And it looks like this. After our base URL, there's a /?, and then key value pairs. This should look, well, it's a little similar to a Python dictionary in the sense that it's key value pairs. We use an equal sign here, and we separate them with AND. But the idea is this is a way to send data to a server to give more information about a particular request. For example, when I go to Google and I do a search for marten, which is one of my favorite animals, American marten. Here's what it looks like, by the way. Very adorable, but also vicious predator, sharp teeth. Anyway, if you notice the URL back here, I'll refresh the page again. I'll actually copy it to Sublime so we can see it better. Okay, here it is. It's pretty massive. But we have our base URL /search. It ends right there. And then question mark. And then there's a bunch of these key value pairs. So here's the first one. Let's separate them out. Here's one. We have another one. I'll delete the AND signs joining them together. Then we have this here. We've got another one right here. And I don't know what most of these do. So a lot of this is, Google's internal stuff. But the two that I care about here, we have Q, which is usually for query, and then OQ, which probably stands for original query. So regardless of what these all do, a lot of this is Google magic. The key point I want to make is that this is additional information that is being sent as part of the request. And we can have as many key value pairs as we want. I think there is an upper limit about how long they can be, but we can pass whatever info we want. And we could even add our own query string, like ice cream equals vanilla if we wanted to. And it will be sent as part of the request, but nothing will happen. Nothing happens at all. And let's try doing something like Q equals volcano. You can see what we actually get. It's kind of interesting. It takes us to a page where volcano is filled into the search form, but it actually doesn't send it. So that's just the way that Google's set up. Anyways, we're getting sidetracked. All I want to focus on is that the query string is a way for us to send additional information. So why does this matter to us? Well, a lot of times we'll make applications that allow a user to provide some information about what they want to search for example. So let me show you an example of that. I have, using the Dad Jokes site, I have a simple app that we'll make where I can actually provide a joke topic like dog. And then it will go send a request looking for dog jokes. And it says, okay, I've got 8 jokes. Here's one. My dog has no nose. How does he smell? Awful. Very funny. Or I could specify a different query. How about car? Archaeology really is a career in ruins. So their search, the way it works is it just looks for, car anywhere inside of the text. So in this case, it was career. But that is not something that we control. But what we're going to focus on is how we can take this data here, and what we do is we pass it into a query string in the request. And back on the icanhasdadjoke.com webpage, if we go to, if we just try searching, first thing you should notice, the URL has changed. It's now icanhasdadjoke.com/search, which gives us this page. But now let's do a search for, sister. Let's see. Nope, no jokes. Okay, how about rose? Flower. Okay, don't buy flowers at a monastery because only you can prevent florist friars. Oh boy, that's really bad. Anyway, notice up here, our URL now contains a query string, key value pair, a single key value pair, term equals flower. So this is how we actually send a search request. This form is just going to generate this request. So if I type something else in here, like fruit, it's got to be, there we go. You can see the request that was sent had term equal to fruit. So if I send a request instead to term equals cat, now we get the cat results. So this is a mechanism by which the search works. We send a request to icanhasdadjoke.com/search. Question mark means the query string, and then we specify the information. And to do this in Python rather than in the browser, we could just send a request just like this, url.com, and then send our key value pairs already hard-coded into the URL. which has to be a string. And that's fine, but there's a preferred way, which is to do it by passing in what are known as params. It's just how the requests.get method is set up. And we can pass in our key value pairs like this. And this way we could use variables, we could have a dictionary that contains our params. It's easier than doing it this way, where we have to actually, interpolate the values in. Here we can just use a dictionary. So let's try it and just make a file called params.py. And the first thing we'll do is just copy over what we've already done. Just like this. So we have our import requests, we have URL, and I'm going to change it to now be /search because that's where the search endpoint is. We could send a query string to just iconhasdadjoke.com, but it won't actually do the search unless we tell it we're looking for /search in particular. Then we're going to do the same request.get. This time I'm just going to indent things like this. So we have our headers, put that at the bottom, and then after our headers, we can also provide params. In params, we can just encode whatever information we want. And the way that this is set up is that it's looking for something called term. We can go to the API documentation, scroll down until we find search somewhere. There we go, search for dad jokes. And I'll zoom in, there's a couple of things we can specify. Page, which is the page of results to fetch, which defaults to 1. So if we get 20 or 50 results, they will be paginated. The limit, so this will limit the number of results we get. So I could specify I only want 1 result. And the term, which is the most important part, that's what we're searching for. So let's try just doing /search term equals, we did cat, which gave us 5 results. But now if I do ampersand, so and then it was a limit equals 1, I only get 1 back. Limit equals 2, and so on. So hopefully now you can see some of the power of a query string. This is how we can specify details about what we want. Now as a human, or a typical web user, we're not ever really editing this up here. Usually we'll click a button that does that for us, right? Like I search for dog here, and it makes a request in this form, puts it into the query string. But if we're doing it in Python, as programmers, we have to assemble that manually. So we'll send our request to /search, and let's just start by hard coding in term is going to be, let's do fruit again, just like that. Actually, let's do cat because there was multiple results. Okay, so just to make this clear, by doing this, it's the exact same thing at the end of the day as me doing this, term equals cat. The thing is that this is the more programmatic, the more Python way of doing it because this is easier to change. I could easily have this be a variable like user input, which is what we'll do eventually. This is a little harder because if I wanted this to be a variable, I could concatenate it or use an F string or something. But rather than that, I'm just going to leave it at this. And then this requests package is going to take care of adding the query string into the request. So I'm going to change this back to cats or cat. Okay, now we're doing response.json, and then rather than printing data joke, because our response might look different, let's comment this out and let's just print data. Okay, this file is called params.py. Let's test it. So that's Python 3 params. And look at the results we get back. So I'm going to copy this over, paste it in so we can dissect it. And that did not go how I thought. I was hoping that it would go on multiple lines. So as you can see, we have things like current page is 1, limit was set to 20 by default, next page, previous page, we don't care about that. What we care about is results. Inside of results, we have a list. So let's start by just paring that down and printing data results. And I'm going to get rid of this line because that will break everything. And now here's our results. It's a list, and it's a list of dictionaries where each joke has an ID, it has the actual joke, and that's it. Then an ID and a joke, an ID and a joke. So one more thing I'll show you is we can just pass in another key value pair. So we saw how to do this with limit. Let's set the limit to 1. So now we should only get 1 joke back. And that's exactly what happens. Put the cat out. I didn't realize it was on fire. Very funny. So I'll leave the video off here. We've seen how to use params which is just how this requests.get method is set up. We can specify key value pairs. At the end of the day, this is exactly the same as us manually saying term equals cat and limit equals 1. It's just an easier, more programmatic way of doing it. And in the next video, we're going to make a little application that asks the user for what they want to search for. And we could also ask them for a limit. How many jokes do they want? And we could specify both of them in params. So that's coming up next.